All right, this is Unit 1 review for sections 1.3 to 1.9. I'm going to do this in 4 different videos. This is video number 1. I'm going to do numbers 5, number 8, and number 9. All right, so for these problems, numbers 3, 4, and 5, you're writing the equation of the line in y equals mx plus b. And number 5, they give you the perpendicular line, so the 2x minus 3y equals negative 5. We have to take that line and solve it for y. So when I do so, I'm going to subtract my 2x, that's negative 3y, equals negative 2x minus 5, and I'm going to divide by my negative 3 and I get y equals 2/3 x and then plus 5/3. Now what I really care about for that is the slope. The slope there is my 2/3. That 2/3 I'm going to flip and take the negative of it, so it's going to be negative 3/2. I'm doing that because it is perpendicular. So now I have my slope, I have an x and a y point. So when I plug this into the y equals mx plus b, I can solve for the b value. So y is the 4, the m is what we just found out, that's the negative 3/2. The x is the negative 1, and then the plus b. So 4 is equal to 3/2 times my negative 1 is going to give me a 3/2 plus b. That technically is 1.5. You can subtract 1.5 from the 4 and get 2.5, that works. But what we're really going to do is 4 minus 3/2. A lot of times I get students who ask questions about, well, how do you get 5/2 for the answer here? This is 4/1. Remember, when you do this, when you're adding and subtracting fractions, you have to make sure that the bottoms are the same. So if you multiply the top and bottom here by 2, that's going to give me really 8/2 minus the 3/2. And that's where the 5/2 for the b comes from. So the final answer here for number 5 is going to be y equals negative 3/2x plus 5/2. All right, we jump down to numbers 8 and 9. For these, they're asking you to find the domain. So when you're finding the domain, there's really two things you care about. One is if there's a fraction, and 2 is if there's a radical. So number 8, there is a fraction here. We can't have the bottom be equal to 0. So x squared minus 5 is not allowed to be 0. You can't have something out of 0. So you solve, you get x squared is not equal to 5. X doesn't equal plus or minus root 5. Plus or minus because of the square. So of all the numbers for x from negative infinity all the way out to positive infinity, you can't have root 5 or negative root 5. So my domain, therefore, is going to be from negative infinity to negative root 5, from negative root 5 to root 5, and from root 5 all the way to infinity. Notice that that's all parentheses because it is not including the root 5s there. All right, number 9, similar idea here, all right, where I do have a fraction, so the bottom can't be 0, but there's also a radical, which means it can't be a negative. So I take that x plus 2, and it's going to be greater than 0. Typically, it's greater than or equal to for a radical. Here, it's going to be just greater than because it's on the bottom of the fraction. So you subtract your 2, x is greater than negative 2. So this is going to be from negative 2 to infinity for your domain. Again, it's a parenthesis there because it is not including that negative 2.